Okay, it's Tuesday. Um, I don't remember what I was talking about last time. I should always say something before I start recording because I start like this. Oh boy, I look fucking gnar as usual. Okay, so yeah, I don't think I just went through a whole deal with rectangles. This is a weird one. So I don't know why. So Kaylee and I broke up this spring, and when I was feeling more depressed, I went to the Michael's Arts and Crafts store, and I bought some paints, a whole pack of them, like lots and lots of colors, acrylic, um, and some paintbrushes, and I never used them all year. And then I when I was hanging out with Ash and I saw doing all of our painting and stuff, it just seemed like a really like a imposing, kind of spooky, scary thing to get into. Oh boy, I'm really sorry that it looked like shit. But eventually, what did I do? Yeah, I just started with just kind of like abstract nothing and doing like a Jackson Pollock thing where I'll like hit the paper with another piece of paper covered in paint. I don't know if he does it or not, but he's the only modern artist that I know of. And I made a whole bunch of these weird ones. Not a whole bunch, just a few of them. Like, uh, yeah, I just made a few of those. And, it's a long story. I made a few of those, and then, I was just kind of playing around with it. Just kind of, I don't know if you could, yeah, these here. These are just like colors swiped onto the paper. It kind of reminds me of a gas giant. I like to think of it as like Jupiter or Saturn. Um, so I was doing that. I've got another one over here that looks like a bamboo forest to me. Um, and a few other ones lying around, but they were okay. I was pretty proud of them, so I just kept on going, and then I invited Sierra over so that we could talk and hang out for a minute. And she came over. She was drunk, and I opened a bottle of wine. I was not doing that alone. Um, and we're just painting and stuff. And I kind of got the idea. I don't know if I did it before or after she was there, but we were kind of like messing around with the paints, and then um, you watched part of The Martian because she had read it recently, but not watched it, and then she went home. Ever since then, Kitty has not slept in my bed, which is kind of funny. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but uh, so to take a tangent, Sierra messaged me like 2 days ago or yesterday, and she's like, so you know that MDMA that I was gonna sell you? No, sorry, I'm not gonna do it. And we should ghost each other. Like, okay, whatever you want to do. So she decided that she didn't want to hang out or anything. Um, I don't know. She said that she can't handle it or something. I don't know what it is. So, I really do look pretty gnarly. So she couldn't handle it. So she's like, well, I'm just dealing with personal stuff right now, and oh boy, I'm sure I just look like the nastiest fucker right now. Um, Where's a hat when you need it? Well, you're used to waiting around. Give me a second. Oh, there's one. Okay, I got one. Oh, I'm gonna survive. So, yeah, she didn't want to hang out. I'm like, whatever. And then I started, like, I don't know, I felt like I needed something to limit or confine or to give direction to what I was doing, because it was kind of just like that. Like, I don't know. I started with those squares, and then I realized that I had, like, a cardboard cutout of squares, so I took my saran wrap and I put it on the edge of the paper and drew a line, and then I did it on the top and the side, and then I cut out the middle. And so then I had like a frame. Actually, I think I might have done those that way as well. That might have been where that originally came from. I'm not really sure where it came from, because there are so many like ideas in the like 3-day span that I was doing this that it's just like a garbled mess. But so yeah, so I had a frame, and I started to like just put the frame over the paper and then paint that, so that the it would just be a square or a rectangle. I keep on calling them squares or boxes, but they're rectangles. And then I got a whole bunch of them. I should grab some actually. So I got about 80 some. Some 80 odd fucking rectangles that I all pumped out in like 3 days or something. They're all different a little bit, some of them are kind of similar, but they're all different. I think that some of them are genuinely pretty good, because it was about, it wasn't about making rectangles, it was about confining myself to something that I could manage. Like, when I see a paper, like a blank piece of paper, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, draw a hill or a monster or something? But when I have something as simple as just a rectangle, it's like the goal is to fill up the rectangle, and it will be a rectangle. That's like the simplest thing you could fucking do. Just like, paint inside the lines. Oh, got a fucking bloody nose. Paint inside the lines. See, I'm so fucked up. Just like skin's messed up, and I just gnarly and a bloody nose popping out of nowhere. And yeah, I'm gonna die. But yeah, paint inside the rectangles, and that's like the only fucking thing that I had to do. Just make a rectangle. And it was that, like, just direction alone that gave me I guess the confidence that I needed to just do it. And I made a few of them, and I was like, well, this is kind of cool. And then I was like messing around. I mean, like, this is like, it gave me the idea that this is like, even though it's a rectangle and it's such a small thing, a small limited thing, there's like literally an infinite number of ways that you can combine the paints and put them onto the paper in such a way to make every one of them unique. And some of them are like you can, if you go with like the Library of Babel, it's like, most of the books are garbled messes. Almost all of them are. And then like a tiny, minute fraction of a percent of all these Library of Babel books is actual comprehensible. So, of course, I'm looking for the comprehensible ones, right? So I'm not just like Jackson Pollocking it. I'm actually trying to make them somewhat comprehensible. But I also don't want them to be a picture of something. I kind of stretched it a few times, and I made one that was curtains. So it was just a square or a rectangle, and then curtains. And since it's just like a vector outline, I kind of liked it, so I kept it. And then a few of them do resemble doors pretty strongly, and one of them definitely resembles a window, but it's like light streaming through the window, but the light is black, so it's like a shadow. And I quite like that one. I don't know if it's an original idea. I don't care. I really like it. So, when this coffee kicks in, I'll go grab those. Actually, I'm going to grab some more coffee, and I'll grab those. How's that? Sounds great. Okay, I've got a whole shit ton of these. I hope I don't spill coffee on them. Not that anybody would be able to tell the difference. Okay, so this is quite the oh fuck. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm a big dummy. Sorry about that. Okay, so good enough. Would you look at that? This is the original frame, and then I transferred it to cardboard so that it would, stand up. Oh, there's that again. I'm gonna attempt to go through these and explain like the techniques involved, because I wanted to write them down on it, but I also just wanted to keep them the way that they are instead of writing on them. So I'm just gonna go through and explain what I remember from doing these, with a little bit of blood on my hand from wiping my fucking bloody nose. Okay, so this one is just black. It's a black monolith. And then I burnt a hole in the back. Like that. Easy. This one I took a bunch of pine needles from outside, and I taped them, hey kitty cat, taped them onto the end of a stick. And then I used that to create this very, and I have really high-res images of these on my Google Photos, and I have a book coming that I ordered full of all of these in this pile, and then I have about 15 more out that way that I didn't use because they're kind of like the, whatever. This is all paintbrush. Yeah, just mix, and all these water spots, I mixed it with water quite often. On a few occasions I mixed it with, I don't know if I did it with these. I don't think I did it with these, but I had a wine that I mixed with some of the paint to curdle it. But I don't think I actually used it on any of these. It's just something I was doing. This is another just paintbrush. This is transferring it onto a wet painting. That was supposed to be a moon. That was just nothing. And then just paintbrush. And I think this one might have had a paper towel that was dabbed onto, probably like moderately moist paper towel dabbed onto the paint and then put down. So a bunch of these early ones are all paintbrush because I was just using a paintbrush, and then I started to make more tools to use. Actually, now that I think of it, this one was definitely a roller, so I made a roller out of a wine cork and a stick, and then I would roll the stick with the wine cork on it. And this one was definitely made with the roller, now that I think of it. And that was pre-straw. Fucking forget it. Pre-straw. Paintbrush, of course. This one, I think this one is... I think this one is probably I have just a small dowel that's like an 1/8 inch dowel or something. And I think I may have done a bunch of that with that, but it does also look like it's mostly paper. I think I took a piece of paper that was kind of curved, and I ran it through the paint, and then I would like paint with it like that. So I think that one is mostly that one. A bunch of these early ones, yeah, I don't even fucking know. This is all paintbrush with a little bit of what appears to be transfer. So I transferred it from this one, it seems. Yeah, I wish I remembered these better. This one is all, I think it was originally a palette. I did that quite a few times. And then I would just take the palette and, you know, continue on. So this one has a bunch of paper towel and roller, and then a white paintbrush in the middle. Yeah. This one, what's this? This one is what appears to be entirely hitting it with a piece of paper. The curved, ripped pieces of paper that I would run through the paint. This one is coffee, I believe. I believe I used a bunch of coffee, maybe not, but it should be coffee for the brown, and then the this is roller. This is paintbrush. This is, what the fuck was this? Oh fuck. This one's I think this one was paper towel, but I think this one was I took so this was a later image from the process of running this paper towel through different things, and I believe this one was maybe not. No, it must have been just a regular piece of paper, because paper towel has kind of like a texture, and this one's just paper. But I would take for several of these images, and I'll probably reference that. I took a piece of paper, and then I would get it very wet, usually with like a very thin sort of acrylic layer of like water diluted, and so it'd be really wet. And then with this underneath I had the cardboard one, because it, you know, rose it up a little bit, and then would press it onto there and into the cracks. So this one appears to be one that was almost like not soggy anymore, but just moist enough to make a clear line and not soak through, but also had enough paint on it just to get it. So I think this one was a transferred from a wet piece of paper through the cardboard onto this one. Yeah. Somebody, I mean, I was just fucking around. This one's all paintbrush, and I think I didn't like it, so then these splatters are hitting it with a piece of paper. They might also be the plastic brush that I made, which was a piece of plastic, like I don't know, some sort of wrapping, kind of stiff. Oh, excuse me. Those grape nuts are getting to me. So it's a piece of plastic that's like kind of stiff, and then I kind of folded it and cut it so that it kind of flares out like this. And I put that around the, or just taped it to the piece of wood. So it's like a very stiff, plastic, messy plastic brush that I would sometimes, and I think this one is paper, but I'll reference the plastic brush later. And I think I have a picture of that somewhere. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. No. Shit. Somebody still have tape on them. Yeah, I taped these up during the process, which was fun, but I do regret it a little bit. I need a better way to hang these up. This one is all paint, and I like this one a lot. It's so smooth and like relaxing. It's just such a rectangle. But I like this one. It's just kind of, it's like chalky, because it has a little bit of white in there too. I like doing that, like having very small highlights inside the paint. This one is soaked in Gatorade, yellow Gatorade. I believe that was Gatorade. And then put into, it could have been Gatorade and coffee, because I was mixing those up, and then put into the oven to dry for this yellow color. It doesn't really show up on the camera very well, but and then paint brushes, and I put some, like a piece of cardboard over that, and then I think I was using the pine brush. This one is really interesting So I have two of these. This one is like the less defined of the other one. I like the other one quite a bit better because it's a bit messy. But what I did was I took, I just remembered. I just remembered how I did this one. No, I got it backwards. Okay. Come on, where are you? Oh, dang it, where are you? This one. Aha! So it's hard to see on the camera, I bet, but this one and this one might have some similarities. Yeah, see that triangle? What it was I took I'm gonna go get it, just so I can stop saying the cardboard, so I can show you. I think that's probably Jill texting me, telling me to come hang out, because we're supposed to meet up, and I don't want to blow it, but I also am really into this. Shit. At least I'm starting to look like I'm waking up a little bit. That's good. So here's the cardboard, and what I did was, this is the one that I was mostly using, I took hot glue and I stretched it across here so that it had like the spider web bits in the middle, and then I would take something underneath and paint over that so that yeah, you can still see the strokes actually now that I look at it, but the glue would inhibit the brush and make this really strange texture that to me looks all like wood. So I did that a few times, and then for the line one, I took the paint on the hot glue, and I of course put this on here and then pressed a piece of paper onto that. So this was the piece of paper that was pressed onto the back, and then the one that is messier, that I like a little bit better and has more definition, is one that was on the bottom. So the mirror images of each other. But this one is just a little lighter, a little less defined, and it's a little, I don't know, nicer? I don't know. The other one's like a little aggressive. So this is the frame, and then I use the frame both ways. This is an old Remo drum head cardboard. And I think it actually is kind of nice, to be honest. So I actually did this with it, and I made a few images for, you know, my digital stuff. And this one, it's a little abstract, but I see a face. It's looking this way, pointing that way. And then what I did was I flipped it around and flipped this upside down, and there's another face looking that way, which I was like, that's pretty awesome. Which is funny because I look at it this way, it's upside down, I see the other face. And so the way that I imagine this, and it's a little bit of a stretch. This is a man. I think this is pretty obviously a man, like he's balding a little bit, and this is his forehead. And that's his ear, you know, his hair comes down a little bit from the back, and this is his neck, chin, nose, you know, strong chin. And then when you flip it over, it's, now, it also kind of looks like a dude. But I kind of wish that it was more feminine, but I think it is kind of too, because she's got a very nice nose, and it looks like a tear kind of going down the cheek, and then, I mean, or maybe not, you're like, it kind of fucks up here. But the thing is, this little line here is so important because it's the forehead of this guy, right? And it's this that gives it the definition there, so... so it's a tear, and then, I don't know, like she has her hair turned back or something. I mean, whatever, it's a dude, but it doesn't matter. So let me quickly go through at least a few more of these. I've got, oh geez, I'm 20 minutes in. This one is paintbrush, and for some of these I came to the conclusion that you need like 2 layers to make them interesting. Sometimes they're just not interesting in the initial layer. So I think what this one was a transfer from a different painting, and then strokes over the top. So you get this nice little bag, and then the strokes at the part that's interesting. This one is pine needles, And I think I didn't like it initially, so I also did 2 layers for this one. So this is the pine needles going this way, and then a bit more paint and whoosh, some points of interest to look at. And the pine brush has a really sweet, harsh texture to it. But I'm going to do this again. I'm going to make another pine brush or two. This one is my original attempt at curtains, but don't turn it upside down. And then I turn it into kind of like a brick inside of a sling. So, yeah, I suppose I didn't really like the way that the curtains turned out because, well, this is probably my second attempt, I think. And I transferred the image over, like just kind of copied it over. So yeah, I think this is actually my second curtain attempt, and it turns out pretty good, but what I've been doing is holding it this way, because why not? This one is just wet paint, and then a little border. Wet paint. This one is, boy, what appears to be, I'm not even really sure. This looks like a brush with maybe some pine needle on there, but very gently, because I don't know. Oh, what I was doing was I just took like one pine needle that has like the 3 or 2, little prongs on it, and I think I was dragging that through the paint to make these very fine, harsh lines through that. This one is just a paintbrush. More paintbrush. Sometimes a paintbrush is really good. Oh, actually, this might have been also. Not really sure. This might have been initially paper attack. This is more of the hot glue trick to make that woody look. This is paper towel and roller, probably mostly roller. This is what looks like wet paper transfer. This is crayon. It was originally a drawing a door, but I don't like it when they're so well defined, so I kept on going with the crayon and just scribbled everything in, and then black paint over the crayon, and then more crayons to draw these lines through the black paint to make like these very well defined lines. So it's crayon, more crayon, black paint, and then light crayon for the lines. This is I think this is just a wooden dowel. Pretty sure. It's just a wooden dowel. Because wooden dowels do not transfer paint very well. This is the Gatorade or coffee put in the oven, and then shit. I think the outline is probably a transfer from the border. After I took an image off of it, and then I'm not really sure how I got this look. I think that, I don't know. I think it might be the short pine needle brush. I've got 2. I've got one with long needles that is completely destroyed now, but then another one that I cut the needles really short, so it has like this very strong brush strength. This one is paper attack, and then paint on the inside. This one is transfer from a guest slip from River City Grill that I razored lines down, kind of like bars, and then painted through that, and then removed the guest slip. So I put the guest slip in here with the slots in it, and then painted over that, and then peeled off the guest slip, and then it had bars, and then I took the guest slip and put it onto here. And then peeled it off. So this is a transfer from that one, and I'll show you that one later. This one is just paint. Yep. This one is what looks like, this is definitely the long pine needle brush. And then after that, it looks like it was probably a combination of roller and then paint over the top of that. And that is a lot of paint on this one. I mean, it's not really, but that really stands out, I guess. And this is the guest slip. That's the guest slip. This one, oh shit, what is this? think this is more like I did most of these with my makeshift tools at the end of it. I think this one's pine brush. Yeah, I need to make another one of those. This one is just paintbrush. Yeah, very, very wet paintbrush. This one is me trying to make it look like garbage, and it definitely worked. This thing is dirty looking as fuck. So I don't even want to go through it. It's just like attacking the paper with everything that I had with as little paint as possible. This is a wet paper towel transfer. And I also painted over the back of the paper towel, and I really tried to soak it and then peeled that off. So that's why it's so like gnarly and wet looking. This one is wooden dowel, and I would make a line and then make another line to do the opposite of what that line is. So that's why it kind of has like the circular sort of look, but it's none of it's circular. I don't really know how to explain that, but I don't know, kind of like a weird symmetrical sort of lined look. And that's what I was going for, and it totally worked. And that's probably mostly wooden dowel. This one is paper towel with a border. I think that these look like flowers to me. Yeah, just paper towel. I really like this one. Very nice. This one is paper towel. Entirely. I think there may have been a roller up top. But yeah, paper towel, and then I continued past the border. You can see the border there, but I continued past that. This one is brushes with... Actually, I don't remember. Was that... Oh, shit. This was my original... I think this is one of my original experiments. Shit. I can't remember if this is paint or crayon, but I'm pretty sure that's crayon, because what I was trying to do was put the crayon down and then put the paint over the top, and while the paint was still wet, I tried to burn it from underneath, and I was hoping so that the crayon would melt, and it would like slough the paint off, and it would have this melting sort of thing, but that didn't work, and I just went with it. So it's just, and there's tape on the back to help support the completely trashed paper, but I burnt it from the back, okay. It didn't work, but it turned out okay. This is paint with cardboard transfer. This is paintbrush. This is attacking it with a piece of paper, and then something, probably wooden dowel for the outline. This one was, fuck. I think what this one was either a very lightly, I can't remember. It might have been either a very lightly painted pine needle brush, or I think what it actually was